I really wanted to do this masterclass tonight to really show you that there is so much opportunity for us to take forward the learnings from last year, the insights, the awareness, the discovery, and everything else that you've done in terms of your own progress and your own journey, whether that is as much as you wanted to or nowhere near as much as you hope to. It doesn't matter. It's okay. You are where you are now, and that is absolutely fine. And that's why I really wanted to do this masterclass tonight, to kickstart us, I guess, in thinking about what the year could bring. So please do feel free to use the chat as we're going on through if you want to. That's absolutely fine. I'm going to just move across and just pop some slides up for a second. And if you guys want to stop your videos and come back on screen at the end, we'll have some time for Q&A at the end as well. But also this is sort of semi-participation, semi-thought-provoking. So with these masterclasses, what I really love to do is to set you off with some thought prompts to get you thinking about, what does this mean to me? And sometimes those things, they ping straight into our minds, and at other times they need a bit of mulling time. They need to settle for a while. They need to just chill. Kate, it's really funny. I thought I could see your cat wandering about there. Good. I can see the tail. So cute. Yeah, luckily Loki hasn't spotted your pussy yet, so we're all good. We're all good. He's lying down next to me, quiet for now, which is amazing. So yeah, feel free to use the chat and feel free to, put in some of your thoughts and comments as we go on through. But equally, do keep notes for yourself and think about what's going to be most useful for you from tonight, and having some more thoughts thereafter as well, because often this will provoke some thinking for you for later on, over the coming days. All right, so let me just dive in, and I'm going to share my screen. Won't be a second. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see that. I'm going to just see if I can pop the chat open just down the bottom there. Just give me a little yes and let me know you can see the slides for me. That would be fantastic. I'm going to just move my little bars out of the way. Fantastic. Thank you very much. So this is Mission 2021. And I really wanted this to feel like it was something epic, that it was an adventure, that it was really, really fun, because I think that sometimes when you talk about goals, you talk about vision, it feels big, it feels scary, or it can feel kind of like processy, and that's cool, and that's what helps to keep you on track, and that's really good. But I sometimes think we need to kind of just go for the fun in things, go for the adventure, and really make it feel like it is something, just interesting, and give us that energy. And I really wanted to include this quote as well, which you've probably heard already: shoot for the stars, but if you happen to miss, shoot for the moon instead. And I think that's so important for us to think about in life in general, because actually, if we don't have anything to aim for, we haven't got a chance of hitting our hopes and dreams. But if you actually have something to aim for and you miss a little bit, it doesn't matter, because you've still made incredible progress. And that's why I think that this quote is so meaningful. So I know that you'll have soul searched, you'll have brain dumped, you'll have been on self-discovery, maybe for several years of your life. You'll have had moments of joy, inspiration. Is this really possible? You might have achieved more or less, as I said earlier, than you've experienced, than you expected to. And everything is okay. You are where you need to be right now. So Mission 2021 is all about taking that learning and all that discovery and all that awareness, turning that into something for you for this year, whether that's a vision, a focus, or a plan. So as with all my masterclasses, as I mentioned, I'll be prompting you to think and to start that process. And if you've got some responses that you want to share in the chat box as we go along, please do. I'm going to keep this, so I'm keeping the interaction with the chat box for now, but I'll open up for Q&A at the end, as I said as well. So hopefully you'll kind of pick up that momentum that this sort of thinking will help you with. And as I said, chose this quote on purpose. And I want you to try and keep this in the back of your your mind. And something that this made me really think of when I was when I wrote this quote in, and then when I was thinking about it, I was thinking to myself, like, who's skimmed stones? Have you ever stood on a waterfront and thrown stones and tried to skim them, or even just thrown them into the water? You don't just give up after one shot. If you miss it the first time, if your skim bounces once instead of the 3 or 4 times you were hoping for, you keep going, don't you? You don't just give up and think, oh, well, I couldn't do it that first time, I'm going to just stop and I'm not going to bother. And that's something that I think, again, I want to keep us in mind for tonight. Is just because something hasn't worked before, or maybe hasn't had the outcome that you were hoping for yet, it doesn't mean you can give up. It just means you just haven't quite got there yet. So tonight's mission, should you choose to accept it? Sorry, guys, I couldn't resist this, right? I know there's hopefully a bit of a smile on your face, but there's a bit of a serious nudge here because, of course, as your support crew, I can help you get ready for your mission, but you have to board the rocket or plane or skateboard or jet ski or whatever is your vehicle of choice. So tonight's mission is all about giving yourself permission to acknowledge the year you've had. And I really want to encourage you to acknowledge that, but keep to the facts, be truthful, and be kind. And be kind about yourself to yourself. And I want you to really, really dig deep for that gratitude, to go with the gratitude. You know, I'm a huge fan, but the more that we can connect with the things that we feel grateful for, the things that feel abundant for us in life, the things that make us feel good, the more we can connect to those, the easier life is to navigate. And therefore, I'm not saying it makes your goals and dreams easy, but it's easier to get started and get into the mindset shift for you to then create your own certainty. Because there's a lot of uncertainty around us. So you have a choice. You can create your own certainty in life. And this is your mission and your mission only. So this is about that kindness, that self-compassion, and it could be setting reasonable expectations for yourself. And I know sometimes when we're thinking about what we want to achieve, there are some people who shout from the rooftops what it is they're aiming for, what they're hoping for in life. And there are other people who just keep quiet and just carry on and just kind of plug away in the background. So whichever of those kind of fits you most right now, it doesn't matter. We're all, there able to choose our own mission. But I really want you not to slip into the routine of life and forget about yourself, because I want you to prioritize yourself and, actually accept that mission. So do you accept this mission? Are you with me tonight? If you are, drop me a message in the comments, because I'm really, really excited about the possibilities of this year. I'm really, really excited about everything that is possible for each and every one of us. I'm really, really excited to be showing you that it is possible. And I know that you guys have got this in the bag already, but actually it's just about shaping what it is you're going to put your energy and effort into. So yeah, good. Let's get that energy. Really, really good. And it feels good, right? When you give yourself permission to kind of go out there and get it, it feels really, really good. But of course, at the start of every mission, there are nerves. So let's just kind of set the scene a bit here. Maybe this time last year, you maybe had some kind of plan. Maybe it was a written plan that you'd crafted with thought and love. Maybe it was a general idea about what you wanted to achieve last year. Or maybe it was a set of intentions that you hope to follow and make that meaningful in your life. None of us could have planned for last year. None of us could have planned for all the plot twists that happened over the year. You probably had some of these feelings of nerves, actually at the start of every life change, every personal development opportunity, everything that you choose to be different in your life. I know that I do. I know that when I think about my year ahead and what I've got planned, and it's all incredibly exciting, but of course there are nerves. And with nerves, there are those mixed feelings that kind of come up sometimes around, if I'm setting this bold vision, I'm creating goals and milestones and going all in on hopes and dreams. I get it. Sometimes the fear's there, the questions we ask ourselves. What if it all goes wrong? What if I fail? What if I do really well while the world is falling apart from my friends and family? What if I'm faced with disappointment and I let myself down? Will I ever make this happen? I've tried this already and it was too hard. Is it too late for me? Tell me, are you feeling any of those things at the moment? Have you experienced any of those things, over the last year? Because I know that I have, and some of those things would have been fleeting. So I heard them, I kind of acknowledged them, and I let them move on with love. And some of those things would have been things that stopped me in my tracks a little bit more. And I had to do a bit of work on it. And I had to acknowledge why I was feeling those things and, find a way to move forward. So at the start of this year of our mission together, I wonder, are you feeling nervous at the moment, or are you feeling like full on, fired up for it and ready to go? Or are you feeling this kind of mixed bag of like, I'm excited, but I'm a little bit nervous, I'm a little bit apprehensive? And I think it's really worth you just giving some thought to this now as you're listening to this, or even just putting yourself a little prompt down in your notebook to consider this a bit later and to really dive into it. Because the more that we can notice those feelings, those thoughts, the more we can be aware of them, the more chance we have of navigating them really successfully. So I'm curious about which base you're starting from, whether it's going to be A, B, or C. And there is absolutely no judgment here. So just have a read of these and pop in the comments which one you think fits you best right now. And there is no judgment here, right? So I don't mind which base you're starting from. It's much more important that you are honest with yourself about where you're at. All right, so base A are people that might be feeling like, I don't really see the point in making a plan because, based on last year and everything that happened and all the things that I've got going on, it's probably not going to happen anyway. If you're in camp B, you might be thinking something like, I'll make a plan, and if I have to change course or, life happens and I don't get there, I will still have made progress. And base C is I'm on my own mission, and whilst I may need to make changes, I will make it happen for me. So just let me know while I'm taking a sip of my tea, which one of those is most resonant for you right now. And if you're just catching this on the replay, then feel free to just hit pause and do that thinking. And I think what's really, really important to note is that this can change. So some days you might be feeling like, I'm totally on it, I'm ready for action, I'm on a mission. And then something might happen tomorrow. You might hit an obstacle. You might have had little sleep and wake up feeling less than human. And you might feel like actually tomorrow you're starting from a different camp, not camp C. So yeah, getting really nice mixed responses in that as well. And so I think that it's really important to know where you're starting from, because if you know where you're starting from, then you can take the actions that are going to best support you at every stage during that process. And I think even if you're starting at sort of base A in your sort of A camp, actually it's about what's going to happen, what's it going to take for you to move through to B and through to C. So let me just give you a little bit more on this. So here is what I recommend as the best next step, depending on where you are and which camp you're in. So if you're in camp A, base A, and you're feeling a bit like you don't really see the point in making a plan right now, and you're feeling a bit non-committal, maybe a bit demotivated, maybe even a bit uncertain about what needs to be in your plan and where to start, then the first thing I recommend is to connect with what's important to you right now. And I've used the words here, surviving or thriving, because I've spoken to so many people recently who have said, yeah, actually, do you know what? Right now, I can't think of anything past like the next few days ahead of me. So I'm focusing on surviving and keeping myself okay day to day. I'm just not in that headspace of thinking that far forward at the moment. And I've got other people that are saying, actually, I really want to do something big this year, but I'm feeling a bit scared. It feels a bit icky to be doing something really incredible when, friends maybe have lost their jobs or family is struggling or, people are unwell, and all of those things. And so it's about really connecting with what's important to you right now, whether that's surviving or whether that is thriving, and then getting clear on your fears. So really just thinking, what is it that's stopping me from, moving forward? What is it that's stopping me from feeling like I'm more ready for action? So maybe it's about worrying that it's actually going to be too much for you, or maybe you're just not necessarily being realistic enough about where you're starting and where you want to get to. Maybe you're in camp B, and so your focus, your best next step is about clarity and to focus. And so you need to decide then what your parameters are, what's in and what's out, and where you're going to place your priorities. Because if you're in this mindset of, I'll make a plan, and if I have to change course or life happens and I don't get to where I want to be, I'll still have made progress. And that's actually quite a positive, quite a healthy place to be. But what that does leave you open to is excuses, because you've already given yourself permission not to get to your end mission. You've already given yourself permission to say, life can get in the way of this thing. And while, of course, there's a reality check in that, life can get in the way. And of course, things change and our priorities change. That's why I'm talking here about setting your parameters, like what's in, what's out, where are the elements that you're going to kind of say, that is like a top priority. I totally need to nail that this year. But if this other thing doesn't make so much progress, actually, that's okay. That's okay. So that's where I'm talking about placing your priorities and noticing the parameters. And then if you're already starting from C, which is about, got your mission sorted, and whilst you might need to make changes, you will make it happen. Then your next step is about needing a plan, and you're going to need to set some goals to aim for in order to stay focused and motivated along the way, because we can all just kind of swan on through the year and hope for the best. And actually, some people make incredible progress by doing that. But how are you going to know that you're making that progress along the way? How are you going to know that you're smashing your goals, you're smashing your milestones along the way? And, those things sometimes can keep you really focused and motivated, especially when things are feeling tough and you look back at everything that you've achieved and you realize how incredible it's all been. So I wonder whether those things resonate with you at the moment, and just thinking about, your best next step and some thinking that you might want to do to help you to move through into actually doing something tangible as a result of what that best next step is. So I can see a couple of comments coming in today. Really, really good. Feeling on fire. Great. Okay, that's fantastic. So there are different things that you can do at each different step, of course. But let me just move my slide on. Here's the magical miracle dust. You've got all the ideas maybe of what you want to do, or you've got no idea where to start. But have a little think, what are the results that you want? If you were to buy my miracle magical dust and you were going to sprinkle it all over you and all over your own life, what will you get as a result? What will be the magic that comes out of the mist? I would love to know. And this is really, really important to think about, because I don't have any magical miracle dust, I'm afraid to say. But when you give yourself permission to think, if I could just sprinkle magic dust all over my life, what would it be? And not only what would I get? Like, what would be happening in my life? How would I feel? Like, why is it important? And is what I'm asking for here something that's brand new? Or is it something that maybe I've neglected for a little while and I've put it on the back burner, but now I really realize that it's really important to me? And, just think about why those things are important to you. So that magical miracle dust, if I invented it, it'd be incredible. But actually, it gives you permission to think, if I could make any choice today and I could sprinkle that dust all over my life and all over me, what would happen? What would I get? What would I get for myself? What would happen in my life? And why is that important? I'm really, really exploring some of those thoughts, and then thinking about, is this new information? Is it something I've been dabbling with for a while? Or is it something that I've just realized could be possible for me? And I think that's a really, really exciting place to be. So that is definitely something to give a bit of thought to right now, just as you're listening, but also maybe have some further reflection on, and maybe even use that as a bit of a journaling prompt and just start with writing a notebook. If I sprinkled magical miracle dust all over me in my life, this is what things would be like. This is how I would feel. This is what I would be doing. And when I'm talking about plans for this year, and I'm talking about the magical dust, and I'm talking about what we're doing and where we're starting, then I'm also talking about a couple of different things here because, like I said right at the start, some people are struggling with the idea of having a plan, of having some concrete goals, of having everything mapped out. And I can see why people are afraid of that at the moment, because it all might go to shreds. But that's okay. That's life. Those things happen. But here is an alternative way to think about things. In life, you can go for two things. So you can be saying, right, I'm going for a particular outcome. I want to achieve a particular goal. Or you might think more about how you live each day and the kind of vibe you want to create. Now, I love this because what this does is this takes off all the pressure of getting really clear, having a plan, having it all mapped out, having goals, having deadlines, having timescales. And it goes back to more living day to day, which might suit where you are at the moment, where you're feeling. Now, it might not. You might be saying, nope, I want a plan. I'm going to be very structured around this. Or you might be saying, actually just starting with that and getting some momentum could be a really good move for me right now. And, for me, just talking personally, towards the end of last year, I was tired. I actually just needed a proper break, a proper rest. I had been sort of on all year, I hadn't had a proper sort of holiday, and there'd been lots of juggling and lots of things. I was really helping sort of clients with lots of challenging situations. And at the start of this year, I, of course, had some plans about what I want to do this year. And I've even got some things, set out in sort of quite specific detail. But there was a bit of me right at the start of January that wasn't really ready to get into that yet. I wasn't ready to kind of get into that, right, let's get fired up and get on the plan. I actually just said to myself, what I'm going to go for at the moment is I'm going to go for a vibe. How do I want to feel every day? How do I want to live my life? If I get to the end of the day and I look back on my day, how do I know that I've sort of stepped into living my best life today? Now, that doesn't mean that everything's perfect. That doesn't mean I'm not a shouty parent from time to time. It doesn't mean that we suddenly don't have complete carnage and meltdown in my house. Of course, those things happen. But it's about, how do I know that I've navigated that in a way that I feel happy with, that has enabled me to show up at my best? And that's where I'm talking about that outcome versus the vibe, because I feel like sometimes if we're too stuck on outcomes and goals, that can be a hindrance. But at the same time, if you're going for specific outcomes, you can use that vibe, that kind of theme scenario to help you. So if you're saying, well, this is my outcome, but I'm not quite sure where to start in terms of the action to take, then don't start with actions and goals. Come back a step and say, how do I need to show up for myself if I'm going to move closer towards achieving that goal? How do I need to show up for myself every day? What are the kind of things I need to think to myself? What are the things I need to tell myself? What are the things I need to do every day? And then you'll start to create your goals and your outcomes with that in itself. So I want you to really get clear on your year. And this is an insight into what I've decided is my kind of vibe this year. Now, this is a bit more focused around my business, if I'm honest, although there are elements of this that show up in my personal life as well. So this is a prompt to you to get clear on your year. And I'd love you to think about 3 aspirational words for the year ahead that really help to describe your best life, your best self. Now, mine might not resonate with you at all. They might sound boring, or they might be totally exciting. but yours just need to be aspirational. They need to be enticing. They need to be exciting. I'm just going to take a little sip of my tea. Now, if you've got those 3 words while you're here with me on the call tonight, fantastic. Put them into the comments. Even if you've got 1 word, pop it in. But you may want to also give some more thought to this thereafter. As predicted, my tea has turned lukewarm. So what do mine mean and why are they important? And you need to ask that same question to yourself. Come up with your words, but then ask yourself the question, what do they really mean? And why are they important? So for me, the simplify, it is what it says, but it's about simplifying some business processes and some home admin so that I spend less time on doing some of those tasks and more time on work that matters. Sustain for me means focused discipline. It means doing the stuff when I don't want to, when it feels hard, when I don't feel like I've got the full energy for it. Why? Because I want to sustain what matters. I want to sustain the self-care routines that I've got in place. I want to sustain some of the incredible things that I'm doing in my business. And I really want to keep moving those things forward. And for me, the last one, succeed. So it's about success for my clients. It's about personal success. Why is that important? Because then I know I'm following that mission to step into and live my best life and teach others how to do the same thing. And that's what I mean when I'm saying, like, get clear on your year. What do you want to do? Name it in those words, and then really think about what they mean to you, your personal interpretation, and why they're important. So Kate's saying, 3 words, simple, true, and belief. Absolutely. So yeah, and I mean, what you can do is if a word that you read somewhere resonates with you, then just jump on into a thesaurus or something like that. And then you can see whether there's another word that's even more resonant for you as well. So I think just, using this as a starting point is actually quite fun. It feels less complicated than perhaps some other methods that you might already use. And it is really, really important to lighten up when you're doing some of this. And yes, I've got those 3 words, but then I want you to turn them into something else. And I want you to name your mission. So I've named my mission. And your mission and your goals should always help you to feel alive, invigorated, and excitably scared. Like, you should have a little bit of anticipation. There should be that sort of nervous flutter sometimes about the things that you're doing. And that's what gives you that buzz, that energy. So yeah, Maddie's got her words: engage, sustain, and confident. Fantastic. You can think of it like an adventure or even a project. And it's your mission. You're writing the next scene. So will it all go to plan? No, of course it's not going to go to plan. Will there be plot twists? Yes, absolutely. Will it have a happy ending? Well, you decide. So my mission is mission S 3 times. So that's what my mission is, because it's the 3 S's. But I've kind of created it so that when I look at it, it smiles, it lights me up. It reminds me that my mission is meant to be fun. It's meant to be engaging. Yes, it's got some serious outcomes attached to it. Yes, it's going to be meaningful to me. But I want to make sure that while I'm doing this mission, while I'm on my 2021 mission, that it's making a real difference to not only me, the lives of my family, the lives of my friends, and the lives of every single person that I touch, either directly or indirectly, through doing my business. So we're T minus 12, but you don't have to think of it like this. You don't have to think about, right, I've got 12 months to get to where I want to be. You can have some different options around how you think about this, but you do need to start thinking about setting yourself some milestones. And that's probably going to happen after tonight's call. So you've got a few options. You can start now and play it forward, working forward either month by month or however you want to do it, and think, what do I want to achieve? How much progress do I want to have made month on month? You can also imagine that you're at the very, very far end of that road and you're at the end of the year. And then you think about where you are then, and then you work back to now and thinking about what you would need to do along the way. Or you can work in kind of 90-day sprint cycles, which is quite fun. It's quite energizing to set yourself goals for the next 3 months. because you know that you'll have achieved 4 major chunks of progress by the time the year is up. So it really just depends on how you like to work, and you may even want to mix it up. There's no rules. You don't need to start with one thing and sustain it throughout the year. You could actually do all of those things and think about what would be different. So yes, start yourself at the end of the year and work back to now, and then start now and play it forward and see what's different, what comes up for you in those things. And there are some fun ways of doing this. So you can do this with just a pen and a piece of paper, but there's a really cool way that I love to use sometimes, which is just writing down either the months, the weeks, or however you want to do your own timeline on some pieces of paper or sticky notes, and just mapping them out along your floor in a hallway or a room, it doesn't matter, and actually step into that month or that week and say, like, what would I be doing? What would I have progressed at this point? And just work yourself along the little time scale. And it's quite fun to imagine yourself and what you could be doing or what you might have achieved by that point. So have a think about what you're aiming for. Is your T minus 12 actually you starting in December of this year and working back to now? Or is it going to be in 90-day cycles to keep you focused? Or is it going to be starting now and working month on month? There's no right answer here, really. It's whatever works for you. And you can always change this up. You've got permission to change anything that isn't working. So let's do this. Where is your first destination? So these are some questions that you probably want to jot down or maybe take a screenshot of or a photograph of. Where is your first destination? Get some thinking done on that. And you may even know that right now. And if you do, if you want to pop it in the comments, you can. How meaningful is it in your life right now? So what you've chosen in terms of your first destination, what does that mean for you in your life? And how is that giving you a sense of meaning and a sense of purpose? What might you notice? And so how will you know when you've reached that first destination? How will you know you're there? And then I'd like you to think about maybe 1, 2, or 3 tasks, actions, or activities that will move you towards that first destination, that first milestone. And that's when you can start to create some of those actions, the activities, the elements that are going to start to move you forward towards that next step. So it's really, really about just focusing on what those things are for you. So you may want to just give that some thought, some time, and really give yourself permission to ponder on those things and not judge yourself too much. So when you're thinking about these elements, don't overthink it. Go with what first comes to mind. If the answers aren't coming, don't panic, don't stress. Just let it go. Know the answers will come when they're ready. You know, use your affirmations, dive into whatever's helped you to find answers in the past, and then come back to it. Because sometimes when you're thinking about these things, you know, the answers aren't always there immediately. You're not always like really sure, oh yeah, I'm going to have this destination. And then, oh, boom, there's the things I need to do to get me there. Those are some of the things that maybe just take a little bit of thought and sometimes bubble to the surface a little bit slower. So this is really where I'm kind of taking you towards, I suppose, the crescendo, if you like, of this masterclass is about you really taking this forward, thinking about that first destination and thinking about some of those things that initially are going to help you to move there faster. And I'm going to open up for some Q&A in a second on this live call in a moment. But if you need a support crew, then you've got one readily available to you that can give you some accountability, that can give you some focus, that you have group coaching and support in. You can dip in when it suits you and access all resources in your own protective hub. And that's in my, it's not Best Life Bootcamp actually, it's the Best Happy Life Hub. And that is really the space where we continue this journey. We continue the focus on ourselves, where we continue the development process and we get that support, that help, that accountability, share successes, and still make that a really big challenge. So that is where I want to leave it with in terms of the screen share. I'm just going to come back to exiting the screen for a moment. And as I said, this masterclass will go into your Best Happy Life Hub, which a couple of you are already members of anyway, so you'll have access to this to dive back in again. So I'm going to just stop sharing now. And I'm going to open up for Q&A. So if anyone's got a question to ask, you can put that into the chat box, or you can just put your name into the chat box and I'll know you've got a question and I can come to you.